Good day, my people. I hope you're all fine. I hope everybody is enjoying their day, and I hope that we are basically just enjoying everything that's happening today. So today I'm here with my friend who is, well, she's called Dipanjali. I call her Pooja. She's going to explain to us because actually I've never asked, but yeah. So she is an amazing person to know. I told you I'm going to introduce you to all my network who keep me grounded. So one thing I absolutely love about her is the fact that she is somebody who has been through a lot, but you can't tell that she has been through a lot. She doesn't wear it on her face like many people. And she's very optimistic, well, not fake optimism, but realistic optimism. And I just absolutely love that about her. One thing she did, which was amazing, was she participated in the writing of this book. I'm going to put the link in the description, so everybody needs to get this book. It is a great book. I have read it, I think, 3 or 4 times, and I bought it for 2 or 3 people. And it has stories by different women. And one thing that came through is just the power of resilience, the power of knowing what you can do. And that is just something that I think many people do not visit themselves. So as I said in my depression video, that quite a lot of times we don't know where the depression is coming from. We don't know if we're depressed or not. We don't even know what's happening. And just some feedback that I've got from a few people made me realize that I needed to talk to her. So I'm going to call her Pooja. I'm going to talk to her. We need to talk to her because I kind of like her perspective on a lot of things. So we will start by, Pooja, introduce yourself to my people.
Hi, my dear. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk to you and all the viewers that is following you. And you said why I'm called Pooja or Dipanjali. Maybe I can start from that. So my name is Dipanjali, which means deep is light. In Nepali, I'm from Nepal. Anjali is 2 hands together. So literally the translation of my name, Dipanjali, is light on my hands. So the way I like to introduce myself is I bring my light to light your light inside. Okay, so that's how I am presenting myself in my head. I might not say this to everybody. And Puja means worship. So it's both names are beautiful, and one is official and one is more pet name that my parents used to call and my family. But since I came to Switzerland, many people found it difficult to pronounce Dipanjali, the whole Dipanjali. So I said, okay, call me Pooja. It was much easier. So that's the secret behind my 2 names.
Okay, let's start with how long have you been in Switzerland?
I came in Switzerland 1997. So it's been more than 20 plus years. So I came here to do hotel management like you in Cesaritz. Then I did my bachelor's in human resources marketing. And I specifically didn't know, like everybody, we don't know what to do, so you discover as you go. Something that I always knew that I had in me was people. I loved people. I loved interacting with people. It's something that's very easy for me to do. So human resource was the closest that came in this spectrum. How can I be with people and understand people? So, yeah.
Great. Now let's dig into the depression thing. So you're very much into mindfulness. You actually taught my daughter a lot about mindfulness. She did a lot of deep breathing and a lot of relaxing and a lot of calming. She's a preteen now, so the relaxation, maybe she needs what do we call it? An extra lesson because the relaxing is not working as a pre-teen. So how did you start thinking about this? What made you start thinking about mindfulness and relaxing and meditation?
Yeah, very good question. So, like everybody, I was just going about with my life, being the person I used to be. And then there was one incident where I realized that for the first time in my life, I actually reflected. So I was sitting and trying to reflect, like everything is going wrong. It's not going in the right direction. My job, I was quitting jobs because I had a very strong character. I couldn't stand managers. I couldn't stand anybody telling me what to do, and quickly realized that does not really work in the real world. It worked with my family and my parents because they loved me, and that was unconditional love, and they couldn't disown me. So, and then my relationship at that time with my ex-husband was also came to a space where I had to ask myself, like, what's going on in my life? And I realized that, I was already 21, 22, maybe 23 years old. And it was the first time I actually really reflected on my past and to really ask myself, what the hell am I doing here? Where am I going? What is this person? Why do I have so many challenges? And why is it so difficult to just build relationship and continue, because life for me is what is supposed to be easy, and it wasn't. So that's when I think my personal development, personal introspection journey started. What I realized in that reflection, very, very short reflection, was that I'm a wonderful person with a shitty character. And especially with the people I love, love and friends and, colleagues sometimes. And I learned that if I didn't change something in myself, this is my life, constant, lots of ups and downs, and not being able to navigate in a more smooth and calm way. So that was the first time it triggered something inside me. And like I said, I grew up with a grandmother who is a very spiritual person. And really what she was teaching me was becoming more self-aware. She always said, the real reason why we suffer and why we are in pain is because you don't know who you are. So it was very simple for her. She always said, people don't know who we are. And that's what you were referring to in the beginning. Like, we don't know why we are depressed. We don't even know why, when we are overwhelmed, we just don't know. We just cruise in life, with no aim, no goal, no objective, nothing, just, go from one thing to another. It works. It worked for me until a certain time, but then this self-awareness, self-reflection had to come in to become the person I'm today. And that's when I started my journey into mindfulness. So one thing led to another. I was like, okay, I really need to understand. So I got a lot of knowledge from my grandmother. I mean, since I was a kid, I had this knowledge, it was, I grew up with her. So all of these made sense. And then there was actually a training for assistants at the Global Fund. And there was one person, a facilitator, who was really instrumental for the path I took. I looked at her and I said, oh my God, I didn't know what I was going to do at that time. I was just moving from HR to program management. I was an assistant. But she made me think, like, I want to be that person, because she motivated us, she energized us, and just her whole facilitation skills were so great. I said, I want to do that, and I want to learn and teach people how to get to know yourself better so that you can have more calm and peace and just cruise life, but with more, easiness. So that's when I started doing NLP course, mindfulness course. One thing led to another, and it's been a beautiful journey. It's been like 20 years or so, and every day, it's not because one day you are conscious, it's like, oh, I got it. It doesn't work like that, right? You and me, we both know, or anybody who's been in the path of understanding yourself, every day is discovery, every day is new, every day there is something to learn, and it's just amazing. It's just such a lovely path that I can't think my life without this knowledge and this practice, to be honest.
So, one thing that I always say, and I don't know if you and Eve, who I've also had an interview with, I don't know if you people know just how big a role you played in what my life is right now. So one time we went for an alumni reunion, and there I was. I mean, I'm the kind of person who first I was keeping everything to myself. And then when I started opening it up, I was really opening it up. So we are here, everybody's having fun. And here I am complaining about all my problems. And I don't know if at some point they just got fed up, but Pooja and Eve just told me, you need to be a bit more optimistic. You're always talking about how bad your past was, and yeah, but you're living there. It's like you refuse to move from your past. You're just holding on to your past, and you keep everything. It's like you're just holding it and recycling it, and that's all you ever talk about. Stop talking about your past. Think about your future. Think about what next. And I was angry at that time because I felt they just don't understand me. Their lives are perfect. They're okay. They don't understand it. I got home, and that day I was like, come to think of it, if my past was so nasty, why am I still thinking about it? Why am I holding on to it? I can't forget it, but why is it so important for me? And that was actually when I started working on, okay, what's the plan, and it really made a big difference, because that is when I can honestly say I solidly put together a vision board, and I said, I have to get here. How do I get here? And well, it's been a lot of zigzags, but I'm almost there. That is one of the things that I absolutely love about when somebody becomes self-aware, because then you also learn how to talk to people. You learn how to understand people and how to bring forward ways of how people can talk to themselves. So is this sometimes a problem for you? Like, do you sometimes have friends or relatives who you look at and you're like, oh, this one is a mess, without sounding like you're going around correcting everybody? Because once you become self-aware, then...
Yeah, so becoming what I also learned through my path and the different trainings, one training, the neuro-linguistic programming, if you don't know, go and look for it, made a big impact on myself. And that also helped me to communicate better, because through that training, I learned, something so basic, like what is true for me is not true for everybody, right? But we forget that in our daily lives. So assuming things and judging, these are stuff that we don't even have to work towards. It just happens now, happens automatically. So really this self-awareness, what it really does is it puts a light on yourself. So you start looking at things that you have to be aware and you need to work. And when you do that, getting away from telling others what to do and how to live other people's life. So you actually, you bring back that spot on yourself and then you work through it. And when you do that, everything outside gets arranged. So my grandmother used to say, the only job human beings are born to do is to know who you are. That's the only job, to be honest, at the end of the day. Once you do that, everything is provided by God. I know your community loves God. I love God. Whoever God that means, we don't have to get into that detail. Whatever we believe in, it provides you with everything. And when I was a kid, I used to question her. I used to get angry at her because I'm like, yeah, then in that case, we don't have to study. We don't have to work. We don't have to do anything. We just sit there and know yourself. And the way she was teaching was, analyzing and introspecting and learning texts from our like Bible, our Hindu text. And I was like, yeah, that's so easy the way you put it, But then now, once I went through the journey, I realized that as well. So yes, you do see people, you do see other people, you become transparent yourself, and then you see others for who they really are without the masks and without all the crap that they think that they tell themselves. But I see through people now, which I didn't have the skills and I didn't have this quality before, But then what I have also learned is my job is to stay there, like we were doing with you. I mean, I could only I was sharing with you what I learned in my path and how I learned that and how that made an impact in my life. And I think the reason why it impacted you was because you were open to it, you were receptive, and you were also very conscious of your own emotions. Like you were angry in the beginning, but then you sat with it, whether you liked it or not. It was that uncomfortable inside, because we don't like when people point things at us. We get angry because they're actually telling us the truth sometimes. But that kind of qualitative analysis comes when we are self-aware, when we have started that path of self-awareness. Otherwise, before, the same thing would just make you angry, and you would probably not talk to the person. You would avoid that person. You would engage. You will say that person is crap. She said these things. She's such an asshole. She has so many problems. That's the kind of interactions we have. So it really enhances our quality of engagement with other people, a relationship with ourselves. We have a better relationship with ourselves. We learn about ourselves. So it's such a treasure to know who you are as a human being, as a soul, as that person that we know is inside and knows everything. And then that in return, that effect is a ripple effect, like a small drop in the ocean. Like what you are doing today and what I am doing today is because of that introspection we started doing into our own lives, and to keep striving to become the best version of ourselves, So when you see people like that, I don't go around telling. In the beginning, I was, without the self-awareness, I would tell people because I was so morally and principled in a box. So anybody who didn't fit in there would be I don't talk to these people because I don't like what they say or what they do or what they don't do, So I would not engage. But now I can see there, I can be compassionate, I can be present. So something I have learned throughout the years is the importance of being present and talking less, like listening more. So really the life skills that we normally should be taught when we are kids, we have to rewind and unlearn many things that we learned through the self-awareness, because we learned that many things we picked up as we grew is not even ours. It's coming from our parents, the social conditioning, you have to be this way, that way, you have to succeed, you have to get a job, you have to be this, you have to be that. Many things is just, we just absorb and we never thought about it. So it just continues. And actually, bunch of it is just full of crap that we don't need to move ahead.
Yeah. And I think as a parent, that's a very good thing to have, because there are ways that we were raised, and so sometimes we want to pass down the exact same values to our children. And when you're not conscious about what exactly you're passing down to your child, or also you're not even conscious about who your child is, you've not even taught your child to be themselves. Sometimes being themselves, if you have a child who has such a strong will like mine, letting them be themselves is a full-time job. You really want to cut them down and go like, no, you are not fitting into society. But I think once because like my journey, I started being self-aware, but it took me having to go to therapy for me to realize all the baggage that I was carrying And so, everybody has different ways that they get there. But yeah, so for me, I think that's another thing. As a parent, how does it add to you being a parent? What do you think would be different if you were not as self-aware as you are?
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it, because luckily for me, before I had my son, I was already in the path. So I had no patience. I was super emotional. Like my emotions would go bursts. I mean, I'm still have to work on it still today. If I'm not conscious, I can be really emotionally bursting, with stuffs. So I don't want to even imagine, because I could have thrown the child out of the window or something. It's not politically right to say that, but uh, I had so much of anger inside me. I didn't know how to manage anger. I didn't know how to. I'm a very strong personality, So if people are weak and if people are quiet and soft-spoken, I could eat them, just because of my self-confidence and this energy that I have. I come in a room and I can really, and I didn't know that. So I was maybe intimidating a lot of people, you know. Uh, I was saying things in my mind was perfectly right, really coming from a very good space, but I didn't know that it landed badly. So I don't want to imagine my life without self-awareness, because that would be such a painful path. Constant fight with myself and with my child as well. And because I've had that life, up until 20, 21 years old. So I know that 20 years, the kind of life I had, like constant friction with my parents, because I'm such a strong character and I want everything I say is right. So, oh my God, no, because what I learned with my son is, first of all, this notion of I'm the parent and I know, it's old fashioned, we've evolved. So that's a really old style of parenting. Nowadays, the parenting for the 21st century is conscious parenting, which means you yourself is trying to be conscious, and along that, you try to be conscious with your child as well. You question your own styles, and you are more listening to the child's needs rather than you trying to, push on them your own desires and your own ideas and your own beliefs. So what's really helped me with my son is seeing him. I don't know why, but I always knew that my son is my teacher. That helped me a lot, because I never approached him as I'm the mother and I know everything. I learned this when he was 2 years old, very quickly. And I never, I was always listening to him, because I realized that the kids are telling you exactly what they want.
Yeah.
But because we don't have that capacity to listen to them as teachers, as kids that know everything, we think kids don't know anything. It's incorrect.
Yeah.
They have their own wisdom. We are born with our own wisdom, but along the path, even our parents were learning. So we are evolving, right?
Yeah.
So that's really helped me, because my son and all of our kids are much more, like they are more conscious than us. They are bringing more light and wisdom.
They're asking lots of, they're really questioning everything, which is not how we were raised.
Yeah,
we were raised
exactly.
It's this way, it's that way,
Exactly.
Why? Nobody cares. We just know that's just how it is. The earth is round, don't ask why.
Yeah. And I think it's also helped, because when I grew up, I learned that I pretty much 16, 17, I learned that parents don't know everything. Because as a child, we think parents know everything and they have an answer, right? Because they are such a big part of our lives that. So when I learned that, and my parents, my mom specifically, was very open with me when I was a teenager. She very openly, vulnerably told me that, look, I don't know how to manage you. I don't know what to do with you. and I didn't come up with a parenting manual, So she said, I'm afraid of you sometimes. I'm afraid of your reactions. And this was when I was 17 years old. And from that point, I learned that, parents don't know either. And I also have to bring my parents, because what she said is, when I got married, I was 17. So we have 18 years difference when I was 17. So she was like, I don't know what's happening in your age group. I didn't even have a childhood. Like, she had to work and, all of those things. So I'm also bringing my parents along. And I think it only works if your parents are also open-minded. If your parents is like, no, then it won't work. But they were open-minded to give me that space to be the person I am today. They always encouraged me, supported me, even if it was wildest, some weird stuff I said as a child, but they supported me. So I also try to transmit, some steps as I go along in supporting my son. And I, as a parent, no matter what, I will always be there, because that's what my parents gave me. And that's been so important and valuable for me as well, as an adult today and as growing up as a child. But presence, really, like, we are on our phones constantly. We are not there with the kid.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that that is quite a challenge, especially because and I realized that with working at home, when I'm not working, I'm catching up on my social life, and when I'm not catching up on my social life, I'm doing something else. And it's like, then the children grow apart. They have their own life, and you have your own life, and you sit down and you eat. And so, you consciously have to make an effort to be a family, and that is a challenge. I cannot lie, but I'm working on that. It's something that I've tried working on. Some weeks are better than others.
Yeah.
Like with the job we have, sometimes you have deadlines and you're so focused on that. And so, of course, there are times that are hard, but when it's possible, and sometimes I just make a conscious decision, because when we're in the house, that's not happening. We just eat, in my house, it just doesn't work. So what I have figured out is it works better when we're outside. So I actually try to even if it's just to visit a friend, but let's get somewhere, let's just go. It makes a big difference, because when we're in the house, everybody has their own things they want to do. And when we're in the house, I want to sleep. So
yeah.
So what else can we talk about?
Maybe you were, if it's okay, you were talking about depression and people being overwhelmed, right? What, maybe some tips to check in,
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, now it's something that everybody knows, and it's nothing new that I'm going to say. But if you are in overwhelm, and that's what I learned, what happens when we are in overwhelm? It's like you have so many things to do, and just thinking about the stuffs to do, you start getting overwhelmed. My God, I have so many deadlines. I have this, and the home and the kids and, kitchen. And so what I realized is, most of the time when we are overwhelmed, we just spend quite a big chunk of our time and energy just being in that overwhelmed energy. So when you're overwhelmed, it's like, and then you start something and then you can't focus, and then the overwhelm makes you even more overwhelmed. So what I started doing, and maybe you already do it, I just put down in a note, I write it down. And then I start really like, okay, take 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, let me put it down. Because without doing any action, because you are so overwhelmed, you don't know where to start sometimes. You have so many things to do, you don't know where to start. So you get distracted. You go make tea, you go talk to people, you do something else, but you are not doing that one thing that would just, banish your overwhelm. So I started listing things, and I said, okay, there is really good, I can share it with you, productivity document. 3 things I need to do today, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can achieve at the end of the day, I started crossing one thing, because that one thing, even if I crossed one thing out of three, it made me feel like, okay, one of the overwhelm went out of the way. And then I also realized that actually half of the overwhelm, it wasn't even the task that we had to do. It was just the thought of how to navigate through that overwhelm and what to do about it. So just this simple technique or tool by writing, really, what is absolutely that I have to do today? If I could do only one thing today, what is that? That really helped me to, get that thing done and get that overwhelm away. And another thing that really helps, again, is breathing. When you feel overwhelmed, we are not breathing. Most of the time, we are not breathing properly. We are breathing because it's happening automatically. You are not telling yourself, okay, I need to breathe now.
Yeah.
But just taking deep breath. Okay, let me just get this overwhelm out through breathing, So just breathe like very simply. And you can count, count in breath 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can also help. So everybody has their own, but breath is something that we are not utilizing in a way that would really be helpful.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes it's the simple things that are the hardest to do. Yeah. And I do also do that quite a lot. I write down what I have to do, and even if I just finish one, for me that is one thing less than I have to do tomorrow. And I also used to be one of these people before I realized that there's no such thing as multitasking. I used to be. Yeah. I will do a little bit of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. So I'll do everything, but then I'm doing nothing. So nothing, I'm not complete. Finishing anything,
Give me 5. I was doing the same.
I start this, and I used to, because I'm an admin, I used to open so many windows that at the end of the day, I'm closing all these windows. But if you ask me, if in my to-do list there's anything that I completed, there's nothing I completed. I started this Excel file, I started this PowerPoint presentation, so I've started everything, but I've not finished anything. And in a way that kind of, and I think that was also me trying to please everybody, because you have different people coming with different needs. So you want to tell someone, I've already started working on it. But then when I learned, and it's interesting because your former boss is now my boss, and she's the one who actually gave me that. She told me, the problem with you is you are trying to do everything at the same time. Sometimes it's even better for you to be late. Just tell someone, I have not started it, but at least finish something, instead of rushing to do everything, a little bit of everything, and then you're not getting anything done. So that was one of the amazing things that I've learned this year. That there's no such thing as multitasking.
No, there's no such, and it's been researched and it's been proven by science. They've done a lot of studies and shown, because in the Global Fund or many organizations still thinks that multitasking is something of quality to have. Yeah. But it is my own personal experience. I used to do the same, but then just focusing, because you see, it's like, look at those multiple windows, and think of your mind having those multiple windows in your head as well. So going from one thing to another, you're losing focus. And then you have to, again, remind, where was I? So doing that, it's like a schizophrenic,
Yeah.
To be honest, we are like schizophrenically moving around things and really not getting anything done. So just having one thing to do at a time, focused, gets it. I think it's more, for me, it has turned out to be more efficient than anything else.
Yeah.
And just speaking about the depression, so I want to also remind everybody who's listening that you see, in general, we constantly forget first of all, we don't know who we are, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
If you ask people, who are you? They will tell their name, and then they will tell their profession. So I invite you to play with this. When you next time go out and meet some new people, ask them, who are you? Hi, who are you? They will tell their name and they will tell their professional most of the time.
If they're Kenyans, they will say
this.
their husband or their children's name.
Exactly. But ask yourself and ask the other people, no, I really want to know who you are. You will see people will struggle with that question. Okay, so something for you to reflect upon. Ask yourself, who am I really? And it's because we don't know who we are, and we forget that we are actually super powerful beings. We have so much wisdom. We have so much of compassion, kindness, love, everything that we are seeking outside. We have it inside already. That's why it is so difficult to find it, because we are looking for something outside that we already have inside. But we've forgotten that,
Yeah.
So when in moments of difficulty, moments of down, don't forget that it's just a moment. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Everything changes constantly, from second to minute to hour to days. So don't forget that just simple principle of life. It's a principle of life. It's because we don't understand life, we struggle and we suffer. So don't forget that everything you need, and sometimes it's as simple as, what do I need right now? Just that question inside, what do I need right now to get out of this overwhelm, to get out of, am I really depressed? Like you said, we are not depressed most of the time. It's just that we have forgotten we have the strength, or we've forgotten we can get it out, or we can push our butt. Or if it's very depression, that's a different thing. I'm not talking about very real depression where you need medical assistance and you need medication and you need your doctor's prescription. I'm talking about general, just throw off, I'm depressed. I've been working too much, so I'm depressed now. Not that kind of. I'm talking about those kind of depression that we just throw out there and use it
self-diagnosis.
Self-diagnosis, and use it very loosely, because the power of words, we also don't know the power of words. By constantly repeating to ourselves, I'm busy, I'm so bad, I am so not good, I cannot do this, I don't know how to do. We constantly reaffirming to ourselves that we are not good enough. When you know that you are, deep down we know. So just remind yourself, who am I? And you will find instances like Marcy. I want to tell your people your story, because I know you as the Red Hill. Remember, what was that? Red Hill. What is the group called? That's how I met you.
Networking in Hills.
Networking in Hills. When I saw that, I was like, Mamma mia, this lady, I love her. Networking in Hills gave me such a powerful image of women in red heels and really being ourselves. So you represent that for me, and somebody who is, I before you talked about all your problems or issues openly, because you started owning your stuffs. That's the power of owning your own shit. That's the power of really saying, yes, I am totally out of line. I am a bitch. I had to also accept that many times I was a bitch. I had such a strong character. I could eat people in conversations. I was such a righteous person that every conversation I had, it was about, I am right at the end. Ending my conversation with a thing that I am right, and I will always be right, and you will never win over me. So just owning that part that even makes you feel sometimes ashamed of. I had to own many parts of that, And equally on the other spectrum, so one of the colleagues, because of her, I started also owning the spirituality and the well-being part. I started playing after my self-awareness journey, right? So when you start owning the good and the bad, the things that you like in you or the things that you despise in you, it's all you inside. Even if you're depressed and even if you can't do anything, just owning and being honest and authentic with other people, not trying to put a mask like I can do it, because that's how we are supposed to be. Even at work, you will have a different experience with life. So don't forget the power you have inside and own everything that you have, whether you like it or you don't like it. It's all us inside you. We struggle because we try to push away things that we don't like. We don't want it. And we have a lot of drama going around that because we don't want to show the stuffs that we don't want people to see because we don't like what we see. But mindfulness has also helped me to bring all of that inside because both makes us who we are. And once you do that, there's no struggle because you are presenting yourself to the world as this is me and this is me. And I love both parts of it. There's no good, bad. I'm trying to work through these by using these good parts that I've learned and becoming the person I am, the whole person. So when those down moments, don't forget, you are powerful. And how do you know that? You ask yourself in your heart. And at that moment, there will be a little voice who will be speaking to you, saying one word, giving you one image, reminding you of something. And that's how I think God speaks to us, through ourselves.
Yeah, it's true. And it's one of those things that we keep forgetting. We keep forgetting that we are also spiritual beings and we do have answers and we're always reaching out to others to give us the answers. But sometimes the answer, you're the only one who knows exactly what you need, I remember a friend who came to me and told me she'd just broken up with a guy she had been dating for 5 years. And she's like, what kind of guy do you think I should be dating? And I was like, how would I know what kind of guy you should be dating?
It's because we don't know who we are.
So for me, like, you've been dating the same guy forever, and all of a sudden now you need me, a total stranger, not total stranger, but I mean, you need an outsider to tell you what you were looking for in a guy, and you're the one who's going to have to spend the rest of your life with this guy. So I don't know. Okay, thank you so much, Pooja. And
you are most welcome.
I will just put the link to the book. The book is called Ignite.
And if anybody wants it in Geneva, I have these books already here, so I can also
so that you can just okay, that's great. All right, darling. So
thank you so much. Day. It's lovely conversation, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you for helping me do this. We are going to reach, I'm trying to reach so many young people because these are things that I wish someone would have told me. I mean, the older I'm getting, the wiser I'm getting, and they're just things that I wish someone would have told me in my 20s and my early 30s. But well, with wisdom, now I'm 40, it's time for me to give back.
Yes. Thank you for doing this. I had lots of fun, my dear.